Hello everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make this pair of rainbow beaded Kumihimo earrings, and these are what mine look like here. So it's really just quite a simple design in the braid. So it's a basic short braid, and then I finished off the ends using the same beads as in the braid as well, just give it a nice movement and tassel, but then it's just achieving this rainbow effect with how we add the beads. And obviously they're going to hang and dangle nicely from the ear with a bit of movement to them as well. So if you want to learn how to make these earrings, then keep watching. So these are the materials that we're going to need. What I have here first of all is my round Kumihimo disc, because it's a round braid structure that we're making. And then the cord that I'm using is this 0.4mm s-lon, and this is a black colour to be a nice neutral background colour for all of these different colours of beads. And they are all silver lined Edo Miyuki seed beads in the rainbow colours here, so red, orange, yellow, green, blue and purple. And then finally we just need our findings to finish off the braids with as well. So I have my Kumihimo ends, and then I'm going to use these jump rings to attach to the earring findings as well. So let's get all the materials together and let's get started. And we then need to cut some lengths of our cord, and what I have here is 4 lengths of about 60 centimeters each, and I then put the ends together here to make them even, and I then want to find the midpoint. So I then basically just fold them over in half and put the ends together again, and then here where I have the middle, I then tie a knot, and I just attach this piece of scrap wire around it to help pull it down through the disc. And this is just so one length of our cord turns into 2 working lengths. And I then attached all the cords here onto my disc. So I just put that midpoint with the scrap wire down through the center. It's going to be coming out of the back. And then I distribute the rest of the cords like this. So I have a pair on the top side, just one on each side of that dot, and then a pair on the opposite side here. So one on the top, one on the bottom, opposite each other, and then also on the sides. So I'm just using these dots as a guideline. I'm not going to be using the numbers at all. And then we're going to start making the braid here. So what I want to start with is have a little section of braid without beads. So before we get to the point we want to add in the beads, so I'm going to take my top left cord, release it from the disc, bring that down to the bottom here, stay on the left side of the bottom pair, and then the bottom right cord, bring that up and stay on the right side of the top one. And that's the first pair. Then turn your disc to the next pair, so just a quarter, and then take the top left one again, bring that down, and then the bottom right one, and bring that up, and again then turn to the next pair. And we're just going to keep going like this, so making movements, top left one down, bottom right one up, and turn to the next pair until we have about 1 or 2 centimeters of braid. So now I have that little section ready. You can see it's starting to come out of the back there. That's what the braid then looks like. Then it's time that we start add our beads onto the lengths of cord. This is then how we need to add the beads on all the lengths of cord. So you can see they're all the exact same pattern on them. And what we have is 2 red, 2 orange, 2 yellow, 2 green, 2 blue, and then 2 of the purple. So basically just 2 of each color right after each other. And what you could also do if you prefer is reverse the order, so start with the purple and move your way to the red. That's completely up to you. But then once we've added the beads here, we need to start adding them into the braid. So we just want to continue with the exact same braid structure here, but now every time I want to move a cord, so my next one is the top left one, I also then need to release 1 bead at a time. So I release my cord and let that very first bead drop all the way down into the middle. And then what you want to make sure to do is right here in the middle, make sure that that bead tucks underneath the cord that's crossing out to the side, and then bring the cord down here so that bead gets trapped in place, because that's how the beads are going to end up on the outside of the braid and make that pattern. Then grab the next one, let the bead drop down, and make sure it tucks underneath. So that's the most important thing to keep an eye on, is making sure that those beads stay underneath the cords in the middle. Turn your pair, or your disc rather, to the next pair, and then just do the same thing. Release your bead and let it drop down. So we're just building up the braid now with the beads right there in the middle of the disc. And you just keep going like this until you used all the beads. Then here at the end, what we just want to do is secure the end in place. So I'm just going to keep making some more movements with the same braid structure, just with the cord, because we're done adding in all the beads. You can see I have none left. So just a few more movements here, with just the cord, and then we probably need to also finish off the end. So to do that, what I want to do is make a few knots here on the end to be able to have that secure end so the braid isn't going to come undone, but also then to be able to finish off the cords. So I've made my last few movements just with a cord, and then what I'm going to do is get out a little bit of glue here, because we want to make sure this is going to be nice and secure, and this is a glue that dries clear. And I'm just going to put just a little bit here right on the end of the braid. Not too much, just a bit is fine. Just before we start adding in the knots, because if we add the glue here in between the knots, it's going to give a much better hold. Something a bit like that. And then what we want to do is start with a pair that we were due to use next. So not the one that we just used, that's this one here, but the next one. Then I want to take cords that are opposite each other. So these two here, bring them across the middle and tie a knot, and then tighten that all the way down right on the end. And that's going to then basically nestle right there on the glue. And then grab the other two cords from that same pair and again tie a knot. And then tighten that all the way right on the end as well. So you can see that glue is really nestled in there. So obviously once that dries, it's going to make it nice and secure. So that's one pair. And then we have the other cords we need to finish off as well. Before I do that, I just want to add a bit more glue again, because this is the other cords we need to finish off. So a new set of knots. I want to make sure there's going to be some glue in between these as well. And it really doesn't have to be too much, because it's just going to obviously come spilling out, and we can always add a bit extra at the end if we feel the need to as well. So do the final knots, the exact same principle, cords opposite each other, tie the knot, then tighten that right in the end. And because these are the last cords that I'm using, I actually want to do a double knot. But what I want to do is, I just did it one way, I want to now tie it the opposite way. So use the opposite cord to go behind. So basically it's a square knot that we're making. It's not too crucial, I just find it holds really nicely. But obviously we have the glue in there anyway. And then the other cord. Tie that knot. Tighten it right on the end. And again, then the other way to get that double knot. Because it's the last ones here, it's just going to make it more secure and sure that it's not going to come undone. Just like that. And then we can take the disc away, because we now have it off the disc completely. And then this is what it looks like. And then what we can do is, like I said, you can always add a bit more glue here. It's a good idea just to do it right on the end of the last two knots to secure them completely in place. And then what you want to do is make sure to let this dry for a bit before we then finish off the ends of the cords as well. So then just to finish off the ends down here, you can really do what you want in your personal preference. What I'm going to be doing is adding some beads to the actual individual cords. But how you add your beads is really up to you. I'm just going to take one of the same beads I've used in the braid, just starting with a red one here, and I add that onto one cord. And then what I want to do is not let this go all the way up, but have it a bit down, and then I want to tie a knot at the place where I want the bead to sit. So basically the knot is going to be the stopper, so decide that, and then you can tie your knot. Just a simple overhand one. And like I said, just decide where you want your bead to sit. You can kind of let it drop down a bit here. So really that's how long you want these, you could call them dangles, to be. It's completely up to you. So just tie the knot. And you can do a second knot if you want to, make it a bit more secure. And then I would just say finish off the ends of the knots there by cutting off the excess cord, so get rid of all the extra underneath the knot. And then if you're using a synthetic cord, you can always just singe down the end, so that makes it a nice and neat finish and it seals it in place. Or you could also just use a bit of the glue to just secure that knot in place. You don't want to just leave the one knot by itself open. Secure it off in some way, whether that's with glue or a lighter. And you can do that with all of them here. How you want to add your beads, like I said, is completely up to you. You can add just one colour to all of them, or you can add multiple colours, use the same colours as you used in the braid, or you could also add more than one bead to each. For instance, you could do the rainbow colours in here as well, So add one bead of each colour and continue that pattern. But that's completely your choice. So finish off the ends there, get rid of the excess cord, and then that's basically the braid done. And then all that's left to do, once we have the little braid ready here, with a little, you could call them dangles on the end, then we obviously got to finish off the other end because we need to be able to hang this from our earring findings. So what I'm going to use is this Kumihimo bell-shaped end that fits perfectly. All I've done is remove the wire that I was using, and then obviously use some glue and put that on the end. I already have a tutorial where I show how to use these. It's the same as using them for bracelets, but then you have these little loops that we can then use to attach our earring findings with some jump rings. So just do that. Obviously you want to make a second one of this as well, so we have the pair. And this is then what the earrings look like when they're done. So it's just a simple little braid here, but you then have this rainbow effect because of how we added the beads. And then obviously finishing it off with a bit of a tassel, you could say. So they're going to hang really nicely from the ear, and they're also going to have some movement in them because of this, how we finished it off. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial for this pair of earrings, and thank you very much for watching.